Right, I am back live. I don't know what I'm back from, but anyway, I am live.
We're always back, mate. We're back from wherever we've been before.
Duncan McPherson joins me. Firstly, welcome, mate.
Thank you very much. Always great to be part of Campbell's comments, particularly at this time of the year.
And trying to do something different, and I've just lost the great man. He's disappeared on me, but he's there. I know he's still there. I think he is anyway.
Hang on. I'll get you back.
Live.
Where are you?
Live.
Yeah, here we go.
Live TV.
Mate, I mean, the phone never stops ringing internationally here at the great Aldebaran Park, so we've got to accommodate all Christian small customers.
I'm glad you're back. That's all. I am more than happy that you're back. We were just talking prior to coming on air, and we're here to promote a lot of things. How far have the Trotters come? Speaking from my pocket, I've had a mare just beaten 3 lengths, sitting in the def, trotting 156.7. Lockie McIntosh calls it a sprint up the straight. It's just expected that this is what these mares have got to do these days. But it's not only that she got beat at 2 lengths, she's actually ran 7th or 8th in a race. You know, all of those mares were there together. It's not just the fast time that Sleepy ran. They're all there doing it. Every one of these trotters is now doing it.
Yeah, look, I think we've got to go back to the original concept of the breed for speed and the need for speed, which is a 3-year-old. But let's concentrate on breed for speed. It's a race series named after my late wife, as we all know, Lynn passed away from ovarian cancer on the 8th of March 2010. But we needed to leave a legacy both on and off the track, and the ideology of the breed for speed series was to create stud book times for our brood mares in the Southern Hemisphere, which ultimately would mean, with good times, that we would be able to attract Northern Hemispherical semen of great stallions to improve our overall breed and genetic outcome in Australia. Now, if you wind the clock back 11 years to that fateful day, and then we look at where we are now, and I love Lockie McIntosh, and you know the race and broadcasters have done a wonderful job. I'm listening to Bathurst, I'm listening to Everywhere Tonight, and they're extolling the virtues of Team Teal. But to think that we've got 156.2 with Sleepy at Bendigo tonight, and it's a dash up the straight, I think we've achieved every objective and milestone that we set out to achieve 11 years ago, and that is we're black typing broodmares faster than any other race series in the Southern Hemisphere. And if you go back over the 11 years and the 6 heats in the bronze and the 3 finals, if you multiply that out, we've had 99 races where we've had an opportunity to black type, and I think you'll find that 90 out of the 99 have been black type. So we've got a 90 to 92% success rate of achieving an objective in the stud book. And if anyone had challenged that at the time, I'm an innovator. I've said it's possible, and I think that the best is yet to come. And when we post 156.2, and hopefully we go to a final when we're in the 55s, then we're in global world and we're in the international scene. And that's part of what Southern Hemispherical trotting is all about.
Andy and Kate's horse went 55.3 around Shepparton the other night. And I do a show with Toby McKinnon, and he said, they don't run that race very often. I said, they run it every year. Smashed the track record. It's just, it is an exceptional time, and they are great times. I'm just looking here at the results of the gold race. It's just been completed just then. Bullion Lady has ran effectively 8. Unfortunately, Aldebaran Crescent ran last because she didn't score up. But the last horse that took part in the race got beat 12.4 metres, and they've mile rated 156.3. Like, that is world class. There's 9 horses going across the line within 12 metres, trotting 156.3. That wasn't happening 5 years ago. That's how far this bar's been lifted.
Yeah, and I think that, and as I've always said, it's not only credit to our genetic breed, but it's credit to our horsemen. And the trainers and the drivers now understand that, and we're all incumbent, and we're all in for the party, if you pardon my pun. But if we don't start producing global and world-class times, then the rest of the world isn't going to look at not only our racing product, but also our betting product. And internationalisation and globalisation of the sport is something that I've been prating on about for many years to many ministers and racing ministers. And I think that finally we're on the threshold, and it's incumbent upon our participants to grasp the opportunity and realise the potential that we have globally and the investment opportunities that exist. And all credit to our trainers, all credit to our drivers, and might I also say all credit to those purchasers of trotters yearlings at the Australasian Premier Trotting Sales, because the demographic of some of the investors, they're not only from Victoria, that we have interstate investors and international investors in our product now, and those names are coming up on Harness Link as we process some of the horses sold by Aldebaran Park, but also by other vendors, and the encouragement is there for our vendors and our breeders to increasing the value of the residual value of our product. And the only way we can increase the residual value of our product is by having race series such as this and posting times that you've extolled earlier. And congratulations to everybody. And if we don't go after the time, we've got nothing to market. And I'm hoping, to be quite honest, that in the next 2 years we see our fillies and our mares racing in 54s down here. When you go and look at the 2-year-old trotting record that Aldebaran Ursula set, and I'm not biased, but she won the Graham Lang, or one of the Lang finals at Bendigo in 55 something. I think that we need to really understand where we fit in the global world, and we need to push the product, and we need to push our genetic breed, and we've got to go after these times, otherwise we become irrelevant. And I've said that for many years, and we're finally getting there, and congratulations to all. A
lot of people, a lot of pacing people especially, scoffed at the suggestions that trotters would be 50% of the racing population, at any time, let alone, any time soon, but at any time was the initial thing. They can see it coming. They must be, jealous. A lot of these pure pacing guys, one of the biggest complaints you hear from the pacing guys is not enough mares races. There's not enough mares races. Someone who had a horse in that last race, Lucinda Mack, the one thing that is happening is we are looking after all age limits, not just 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds. We are looking after all the age limits, because Lucinda went around in a race series 2 weeks ago. There's another one, and I think there's another one in a fortnight. I don't think she made the final of this one, so there's another one in about a fortnight for these faster class mares to be able to compete at the highest level.
Look, I think one of the COVID's created a lot. The COVID-19 lockdowns created a lot of opportunities for Harness Racing Victoria to look at its product. And when I say look at its product, it's about exporting our product. And when we look at our exportable product, and we look at what we've been doing and able to be done in America, and sending our race feed over into France through the connections that we have there, but also into Sweden. I've got some statistics that will be released very shortly from Harness Racing Victoria, but we've had a 15 to 20% increase in interest and live watching of the APTS trotting sale. We've had considerable, and our chairman, Mr. Dale Monteith, mentioned it at the Great Southern Star Night. There was considerable interest in betting from Sweden and Europe online on the first heat of the Great Southern Star. Now, we're attracting people and interest that have never been in our product before, and if we're getting 20 to 30% increases, or 200 to 300% increases in our racing product as far as exposure goes, then it's all good for our business down here. To then couple that with the fact that the trotters are moving forward, and as you've said, we've got the Platinum Mare Sprint Series, we've got the Breed for Speed Series. Finally, we're starting to create product here that is marketable globally, and I've got no disrespect to the pacing people, and they've got a wonderful facet in our industry when we go and produce our product in America. But we've also got to acknowledge that the herd population in the trotting mare herd population, or the trotting foal population in the southern hemisphere here, is the fastest growing herd population in the world. And we need to capitalise on this product in the next 3 to 5 years while everyone's looking at us. And I think with the revertment of the Great Southern Star to the heat and final, and the interest that we've generated internationally, and to know that people such as Bjorn Goop and Sydney Vanderbrand, who've worked down here, are all talking about bringing horses down here in the next 1 to 2 years, subject to COVID-19 restrictions being lifted, then we're definitely making an impact globally, and that's what the objective of Harness Racing Victoria and the state government. And I might also add that Mr. Bakula, our racing minister, is very keen to ensure that trotting is part of the investment that he makes in product in Victoria, and we become a go-to destination globally for tourism and so on.
Absolutely. And the one thing, and you say about the flow-on effect and what happens with the flow-on effect as well with the trotters, NZB, they had their sale. I promote everything and all the rest. The one thing that stood out to me, there was definitely one stallion. I'm sponsored by Woodlands. I'm quite happy to say what the hell, some of the prices that they were reaching, but not just those in general. There was trotters across the board in that New Zealand sale that were fetching it well and truly above. I haven't seen the individual figures, and I don't think they've had them because unfortunately they got interrupted with the COVID. I think they accumulate them all over the whole sale. But that is what's happening. They're our closest neighbours. Internationally, they are technically internationally, and you can see the flow-on effect from them being able to sell trotters and the people buying them, sitting over there watching them the other day, the guys that are investing back into these trotters.
Yeah, and I think the demographic of the people that are investing in our sport is very interesting. And congratulations to Woodlands and What the Hill. I think it's an outstanding result for Southern Hemispherical trotting to see investment not only from Australia and New Zealand, but from other parts of the world in the product that stallion's been able to produce. But I also think we need to acknowledge the stallions, the colonial stallions that we've got here in Victoria, and not only the colonial stallions, and I'm not pushing my own wheelbarrow here, but there's opportunities being created by harness racing Victoria with breeding incentives and first win bonuses going forward, and the benefactors of those purchases in the APTS and also in the upcoming nutrient sale will be investors in Australian and potentially international trotting. So I think that coupled with the New Zealand sale that's been held, and we've still got Christchurch to go next Monday due to the deferment of the balance of their sale, but I'm sure you'll see that trotting averages globally or right across the Southern Hemisphere, both for first season stallions and other mature age stallions, are on the move. And I think this all goes well for investment in our product from Northern Hemispherical investors.
Duncan, you and I can talk trotters till we're blue in the face, and even then I reckon we could keep talking, or teal in the face, I should say, and we can keep going there forever and a day. Team Teal is out there and it is gaining legs and it is going terrific. There is people winning races from everywhere. I did an interview yesterday with Sam Pascoe, or Samantha Pascoe, should use a real name. I got in a bit of trouble because I called her dad old. Apparently he wasn't happy with being called old, but I think once you're a dad, you're old. It doesn't matter who you are. But it's growing, and even in COVID, where we haven't been able to get around, you and I were going to be at Bendigo tonight. We were going to have a live chat from the racecourse. We can't get there. The word and the branding is still getting out there, and that's key and important, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that we're very fortunate. There's some 260 range women, or 286 if we include New Zealand, that are flying the ambassadorial flag for Team Teal. I've noticed in the last 2 weeks that our friends at Sky Channel and our race callers and our broadcasters are promoting the product greater, as they are on other media channels. And I won't be selective as to who they are, but we're doing a great job here. And I think that the women in our sport, as we all know, Karen Manning has driven 4,000 winners. I mean, we know that it's a world record, and Karen is held in such high esteem in Europe that if she was in Europe, she would be on every poster and billboard around the world. We need to understand the impact and the influence that our female participants are having down here. And then you couple that with the Team Teal philosophy, which is raising awareness, and we've got 287 ambassadors. We've collaboratively evolved in 147 racetracks across New Zealand and Australia in 2020, and for 461 winners or 451 winners last year. And the girls are on track this year to achieve that objective. But I think the most astounding thing for me is that you interview such people as Samantha Pascoe. The level of her ability to articulate and communicate was astounding. And I think that we need to recognise as an industry the value and the wonderful attributes of our participants. She was absolutely outstanding in your interview, and if anyone else saw that from any other sporting code, it was a credit and an absolute joy to listen to Sam extol the virtues of her past and her enjoyment and her privilege, if you like, of driving 4 winners in a day. And then you combine that with the girls that are driving winners in Broken Hill and the participants in King Island, and the fact that we had 6 individual girls drive or women drive winners at Ararat the other night. And I mean, it's right across the board that the female participants in our industry are flying the flag and definitely raising awareness and making a difference in the general community. And I think the community should be very appreciative of the fact that these wonderful females are flying flags for such an insidious disease.
The one thing Samantha said to me that rang true because of the year before when I'd done a similar interview with Taylor French. Taylor was only able to drive one winner that year before. Like, you look where Taylor's come to now, and she's come so far, and you see a young girl like Samantha who, as you said, she was so articulate. She knew what she was saying. She was controlled. I asked her what she did beforehand. She said she used to ride the odd horse. I've been told what she used to do beforehand, and I will be following her up. She was a champion Western rider, apparently, or could have been. So she was extremely modest. She wanted to keep it onto the Teal track and the likes. And we look at South Australia. We have the people like Danielle Hill, whose name I forgot, and I should never forget her. But she doesn't only just, she's not only an ambassador, she's an ambassador for harness racing. How tough this person is that keeps getting up after what she's gone through, and then she'll stand up there and promote Team Teal without even thinking about it. That's how great some of these women are. I'm 100% biased with Karen, you know that. She's related, so I'll be biased. You got Jodie, you've got Kate. Kate Gath is not only driving more winners, her interviews, they're next level stuff. Every time you hear her behind a microphone, and it's a lot, she gives you more and more every time. I think she's just, there's so many of these people that are just, as you said, would be on billboards anywhere. They would be front and centre, and rightfully so, especially not just through the month of February, but for the entire year.
I think as an industry we should be extremely proud. I think the hand-in-hand relationship that Team Teal has created with the women in harness racing, and I think it is a hand-in-hand relationship. And the jurisdictions that have encouraged the girls and women to participate, and I say girls because a lot of these young women we've been going for 10 years. Some of these girls were graduates of pony trots, and I think we need to understand that if you create a legacy, the greatest legacy is the futuristic view. And for these young women to carry on through pony trots, they understand what ovarian cancer is. We now talk about it in our community and in general public as a disease that we need to talk about and know about and do something about. And I think that we've been absolutely fantastic in sending that message, not only through our harness racing community, but through the general communities where we can have some effect. And whether it's, as I say, whether it's Broken Hill, Busselton, King Island or Brisbane or wherever we may be racing across those 117 racetracks, that we combine our efforts into, we're sending a message, and the community is starting to listen to us, and I think that's reflected in the amount of fundraising and the sponsorship and the awareness that we're achieving. And it's also reflected in the number of people that also call up ANSCOG and Women Can and myself personally and thank us for the awareness that we've created, because if we didn't do it, a lot of women have acknowledged that had they not been made aware of the basic symptoms of ovarian cancer, which can include, often going to the toilet, bloating and feeling different to what you are. These women are listening to their bodies, and the number of women that have rung us over the last 5 to 10 years, and particularly in the last 3 to 5, attributing their health outcomes to the awareness campaign that we've created in harness racing, you would be astounded. And we should be all very proud as an industry to think that we're making a difference to the women of Australia and New Zealand.
I tell you one thing, and I'm not sure whether you think about it too much or not, but I have a young daughter. I mean, your daughters are old enough to understand, and unfortunately had to understand it through tragedy. But my young daughter actually understands it, and I think it's once your kids get to a certain age, you understand the importance of it and the enormity of it. I've done an interview with Troy Harley today, Bendigo Greyhound Racing Associations, and GRV. Now, we're not going to just single Troy out as well. And unfortunately, they got hamstrung a little bit as well with COVID. It looked like things were going to change. Giving $50 for every female trainer that wins. But I know, because I do a lot with GRV, that there is a lot more in the pipeworks going forward next year and the likes, trying to build it up and grow it. And that's getting it out into that community. That's a complete another community that is starting to be aware of what Team Teal is about.
Yeah, and results are effective. And I mean, to understand where the funds raised go, I mean, we've got a survivors teaching students program where we have, women that are affected with ovarian cancer going through their various phases of dealing with the disease. They come into the classroom, they go on the new word, we pivot them, we put them in on Zoom and on team meetings, and they have the ability to explain to the technicians, to the students, and the future doctors and physicians of the world about what they're dealing with, how they feel and what's going on. And then obviously the other part of where the funds raised goes, which is very important, is my late wife Lynn was a nurse, and part of the funding that we raise goes towards the research nurses, who are the women that stand by these currently affected disease-ridden people, if you like, and that's a pretty crude way to put it, but the women that are suffering from ovarian cancer have a nurse that works with them, and those nurses are combining with the research and the Survivors Teaching Students program to deliver a better outcome and a better life for those that are suffering. And I think that if we understand what all that means to those people that are going through that process, they're pretty much indebted to for providing the opportunities for a better life and a better outcome. And definitely, I can assure you, right across the board, whether there's 16-year-old girls or 55-year-old or 80-year-old women suffering from ovarian cancer, we are definitely making a difference, and that's the message we need to get out there. So Survivors Teaching Students and research nurses are the benefactors of the funds raised by all our deeds on the track.
Absolutely, and I think what you're saying is the key thing. We've got two gentlemen, Gary Dowling and Brian Coughlin. Coggo's from 3BO. He's a local here in Bendigo. They both commented. One said great job, and one said great interview. Guys, just preach the word out there, especially Coggo. You got a radio station, and make people aware of what is actually going on here in harness racing and GRV, and not just here in Victoria. It is Australia-wide and it is worldwide now, and it is gaining legs, and we've got to do something about it. And I think it's brilliant what you've been able to do, mate.
Oh, look, I'm only the seed capitalist, mate. I can't do it without the participation and the embracement of our industry. And I take my hat off to every single person in our industry that extols the virtue. My late wife, she's left a legacy, and it's my job to carry it through. And we're 11 years down the track. I'm not going to leave no stone unturned to try and make a difference for the outcome of women's health for women in Australia and New Zealand and indeed globally. And when we know that we're getting media coverage in Sweden through Trev Rondon, through my good friend up there, there's people that are starting to take notice of what we're doing down here, not only as an industry with our deeds on the racetrack, but what we're actually doing to the community and off the racetrack. And I think that recognition is credit to all the jurisdictions that are supporting Team Teal. Absolutely.
And I take my hat off to every lady driver who puts on the teal pants. Some of them as young as 16. Some of them have been driving for 3 years, like Samantha. Some are like Karen Manning. Gator Pulicino over there, she's a controversial figure, but she wears her teal pants with pride. She's been around the industry for a long time. We must keep getting the word out there, and I take my hat off to these guys because I think they do a great job. I think they sign up to be a trotting driver, and then all of a sudden they're an ambassador. They don't realise what they're doing, but they do it with pride, mate, and I think well done to all of those. Mate,
absolutely.
We definitely could talk for ages. There's not a worry there at all. But the last race is about to be conducted. We've got less than 30 seconds for the Silver Series.
Well done.
Hopefully I'll see you at Melton. Hopefully I'll be in the Group 1 winning stalls, but I don't think so because I'm not sure we qualified. But that's okay. You don't worry about those things. We'll catch up, mate. Thank you very much for the time, and thank you very much for the interview, buddy. I've enjoyed every minute of it. And I've just got to do one thing, which might seem a little bit strange, but don't let you worry. I've just got to do something so I know when the interview is finished. But thanks, mate.
Good on you. And we're hot to trot at Elderbaron Park and get real support to Teal. Thanks very much for your support, mate.
And Teal, sensational.
Good on you. Take care.
Thanks, Dunk. See you.